It seems surreal to watch the quiet beginning of this surveillance video, knowing ultimately how it ends. This is Eastern Avenue on the Maryland-D.C. border, and the situation escalates when a man gets out of his Maserati, walks over to a woman's car, and opens fire multiple times. He moves backward, eventually pointing his gun in the other direction, and then he simply drives away. The man's been at large since this happened on Wednesday just after 5 p.m. The victim survived, and police said the child in her car was not hit by the gunfire. It's D.C.'s second high-profile road rage shooting in as many months. Both are still unsolved. Last month, a woman captured by surveillance images here shot a man on Massachusetts Avenue between the Naval Observatory and the National Cathedral. He did not survive, and she has not been found. Police say a two-door silver Maserati provides a more unique vehicle when looking for a person of interest, but they're asking for the public's help and offering a $10,000 reward to get the man in the Maserati off the streets. Mike Valerio, WUSA 9.